Boy, it just seems like we're back again here on Swamp Justice Radio, 97.7 FM, WVFF Radio, Veterans for Freedom Radio, Truth in Broadcasting. And Elaine, we just can't seem to get out of this. This is Elaine Greenwood from Woke News. Find her on X, where she's telling the world how to run itself. I mean, she is
I own it. You're right. I do.
She is my consigliere.
That too.
What was that guy's name in
Tom Duvall. Tom Duvall.
She's my Tom Duvall.
I try, Jim. I try. And it's sort of so how it's working. But we were talking about this the other night, and in the last 40 years, there hasn't been a significant period where I wasn't involved in major litigation with some of the top legal talent in this country.
Yeah.
And at one point I was suing the company that became Pfizer, and that was 7 years of litigation. And twice during that 7 years, I was pro se in between representation. So, but anyway, it's just been, I don't typically get involved in little cases, but I do tend to get involved in huge cases. And so it's an interest of mine, and it is part of my education and background. But anyway, let's go, because what's going on now is really just, it's so outrageous.
Outrageous.
Yeah, it's sort of an existential threat to humanity as I see it. And that's my phrase.
It's an existential threat to journalism. Honestly, it's a full frontal attack on journalism.
I think it's a threat to both the practice of law and the Bar Association.
And it's an attack on me personally. For what? What did I do?
You had a different narrative. You
I wrote a story.
Yeah. And you know what you did?
But here's the thing. I didn't write my story. I didn't go, hey, let me think, what can I write about today? Oh, yeah, let me make up, I'll call them a confidential source. And then we'll use some information that's old, and then we'll put it together. And I'll say, hey, I did it. Look what I did. No, people, that's not at all what I did. Not at all.
You investigate people.
We're referring to the Stephen Smith case, and we're referring to the article that I wrote and posted on October 15th of this year, where a confidential informant came to me. We had long conversations. Those were all taped. They gave me information that's never been heard before. I don't care what Eric Bland says. You have never heard it. And so I put it all together into an article. But instead of running out in July and waving this flag and look what I did, hey, give me some money. No. I said, wait a minute. Let's get together with my attorney on this. Let's get together with SLED on this. Let's share this information with SLED. Let's make sure they're up to speed on it. Let's make sure they know who the confidential source is so they can go talk to this confidential source and help them build a case, which they have been building now for, 10 years. So that's what I did. And for that, since October 17th of this year, it's been nonstop attack. And in fact, 2 times last week on Luna Shark was all about me, about how terrible of a person I am. I mean, come on. I just dropped off a bunch of Christmas candy at my local dog shelter. Like I'm a nice guy.
Jim, though, you're threatening that Hulu narrative. You're threatening this narrative that is so lucrative. And so you followed the facts. You investigated. You actually interviewed witnesses that nobody had ever talked to. Nobody. Nobody. With
even
the
SLED.
Murdaugh appeal, you have interviewed witnesses. You did a book with Juror 785. Law enforcement hasn't interviewed her, but you did. So I think that the reason you have such a tremendous following, and congratulations, it's just growing and growing and growing, is that people appreciate you're actually reporting the facts. You're actually reporting the news. You're not out there trying to build this this resume on legacy media where you could say, I have literally been on every talk show there ever was. It's like he's filling out his bingo card. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but you're not doing that. You're saying, I'm sticking to the story, I'm reporting the story, and you have no bias, and you're not monetizing your narrative at all. You're saying, here's what happened. I think the way I saw the pleas for, we want information that could lead to the arrest, and what they said was lead to the arrest.
Well, hold on. Let's back up so everybody understands what we're talking about. We're talking about the Stephen Smith case. There was first a reward, I think it was for $30,000, and then it was increased to $50,000 for information leading to the arrest of individuals for the death of Stephen Smith. Not the arrest and conviction, because I have the contract I got from my attorney. You know where they got it from?
Eric, David Moses. Let me guess.
David Moses.
Mandy's husband.
Mandy Matney's husband. Yep, I have an email from them dated September 23rd of 2025.
No, say it.
Yeah, I do. Listen, you're going to come at me. I'm going to come back with the receipts, okay? So don't sit there and play this game, Luna Shark, like we never asked for this. I didn't even know what they're saying because I'm not listening, but apparently they're awful things that Bland has called me all kinds of names, a whack job. What do you say? I interfered with the investigation. I'm not credible. All these things. Stay away from Sandy. Come on, dude. You're supposedly a super lawyer and a best in Charleston. I hate to see who the worst in Charleston is, but let's just share this email, shall we?
Wait just a minute. How does you finding out the truth interfere with the investigation? And Eric Bland is a civil attorney. He's not in charge of the investigation. Law enforcement is. You did the right thing. You went to law enforcement because Eric Bland, he thinks he's God, or he's a self-anointed.
You think he's playing law enforcement? Like he's a chief law enforcement officer of the state of South Carolina?
I think he's an idiot. I think he thinks they literally think they own this case. It's a hit and run.
Nobody owns this case. I don't own it. I don't own it. They don't own it. They may have Sandy under contract rights, so she can't talk, but they don't own the story.
And they don't own law enforcement. You don't go to Eric Bland and say, Eric, you who are monetizing this narrative, especially about Buster, that's arguably false and enormously defamatory, and you've marketed it all the way to Hulu. You, Eric, are not in charge of law enforcement, or are you? How toxic is the relationship between an attorney, a self-aggrandizing, monetizing attorney like Eric Bland, and law enforcement? Is he?
Here's a billboard that they had. I think it was 30 or 35,000.
Yeah.
This is a billboard that they had. I don't know how much that cost them out of the money, but we have an email sent by David Moses, the husband to CEO Mandy Matney and Luna Shark producer, on September 23rd, and it shows that the company is behind. It shows the company behind the Murdaugh-focused podcast, The Murdaugh Murders, and actively seeking new information on Stephen Smith case. Let's just get right to it, shall we? Let's just not keep the people waiting. Or should we? Should we just wait another minute?
No.
Let's see.
Go.
All right. So let's just get to it. Here's the email. I know it's going to be hard for you to read, but the people at home can, and I will read it for them because it is quite interesting. Even that it's on here, I'm going to have to pull it up. All right. So this is an email from David Moses. As I said, he's the husband of Mrs. Moses at Luna Shark. September 23rd, 2025. This is to my attorney and to Eric S. Bland, super lawyer, I wonder if that's what the S stands for. Superdoya. It says, hi, and to my attorney, and thank you, Eric. And it says, these were the terms we drafted for the reward offer back in 2023. I am eager, and I have this underlined, I underlined this in red. I am eager to learn how we can help, either by assisting another victim you may be representing, or learning if you might know of someone that has info. That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. He says, but I'm just a producer with swift access to info. I think he's, I don't know what he's doing there. I'm just a producer. So any other details about the latter situation, information leading to an arrest in Stephen's case, Eric Bland can help you with, or help connect you to SLED Chief Mark Keel if needed. How about that? David Moses is telling my attorney, Crime and Cask, that Eric Bland can help her and me connect with Chief Mark Keel. Well, what they don't know at this time is that I'm well into. Chief Keel already knew about it. Chief Keel knew about it. The Office of the Attorney General's office knew about it, and SLED agent that I was working with knows about it. And then it says again here, anyone with information can also contact SLED. And then here is the Stephen Smith reward and offer terms, according to David Moses, who sent this to my attorney. Sandy Smith, the offerer, hereby offers a reward of $50,000 to any person or persons who provide information that directly leads to the arrest of individuals, and it says directly leads to the arrest of individuals responsible for the murder of Stephen Smith.
So
and it goes on to say some other things, but
it didn't say we only provide that information if the reward if your information leads to the arrest of Buster Murdaugh or the Murdaughs. It didn't say the reward is only for if you help us continue to monetize the narrative that we made up that's arguably really, really, really false.
Or it doesn't say arrest and conviction.
Right, it doesn't say that. But what really sticks in my little craw here is, why does Eric Bland, why is he being positioned as the conduit between law enforcement and evidence that belongs to law enforcement? You know, when I have evidence of a crime, I don't take it to a civil attorney who's waiting to monetize this narrative that he and his buddies have perpetuated. You go to law enforcement first. They didn't for a moment say, have you already been to law enforcement? They said, basically, we're the conduit. I don't like that. At some point, it'd be nice if SLED would say, we disavow, we regret allowing Eric Bland and Mark Tinsley so close to the prosecution of Alec Murdaugh. These are civil attorneys. They have a very biased agenda. They're monetizing that, and we disavow any association with them, and we're going to keep them at arm's length because that's what justice requires. And that's what your content is about. What justice requires, what journalism requires, in order to be the most beneficial to the citizens of the state of South Carolina. Because that's what's at issue here. Not how can we perpetuate a narrative that we helped create, so we monetize it and get Hulu to hire actors to portray this narrative. I've not seen the content they made, but I'm going to look at it later today. The content they made suggesting that Buster's involved in the death of Stephen Smith. I think Hulu should be sued by Buster for airing that, for taking that without.
Well, here's a picture I'm showing of Mandy doing one of her podcasts. I think it was last week, and this is a transcript from it. So the spelling is a little bit wrong from the transcript. I'm sure it's AI, but why I believe them, and I mean, honestly, I think that someone in the Murdaugh family had something to do with Stephen's death. I think they were involved in it way too much from day one. It would be too many weird coincidences, or they would know what happened, like somebody, blah, blah, blah. So that was last week, by the way.
I know, but wait, stop. Put that back up. What if I said, see, what she's doing is trying to couch, she's trying to avoid getting sued by saying, I think it's her opinion. Okay, I get that. So what if you and I, or I said, I think given that they push this, what they have to know now is a totally fake narrative so vigorously, and given that they've monetized it, maybe Mandy had something to do with the death of Stephen Smith. The more I think about it, I think it's weird that she keeps pushing a narrative that they know is false. I think it's weird that they made so much money. I think it's weird that they pretend one thing. They pretend to be wanting to know the truth, but they attack anybody that actually does any investigation and is bringing them the truth. So I think it's weird she's doing that. Therefore, I get to say, I think Mandy's involved in the death of Stephen Smith. I mean, you'd say you can't do that. Nobody seems to be getting through to Mandy that she cannot use her platform to broadcast to millions of people something that she wholly created in her own little mind that isn't supported by fact. And she knows it's not supported by fact.
So, but here's what's interesting. And I put a timeline together on this, and you can go read about it at crimeandcask.com with the ccnewsnetwork.com. This message from David Moses welcomed new information, wanted to assist in uncovering suspects, had no hostility towards moi or the investigation, saw potential value in the emerging evidence, and expressed no concern about misinformation or credibility. Simply put, Luna Shark wanted the information, they wanted it badly, before they knew who had it and what the information was.
Have they listened to we talked about this, you've done content about this, you've published this. You offered Sandy and Eric a chance to listen to this. I think it's an hour and a half conversation.
They ghosted me. I offered them numerous times. I even told Sandy I would go to her wherever she wanted, her attorney's office, her home, a restaurant. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I would go to them. Ghosted. Didn't want to hear it. Didn't want to hear who potentially killed her son. Well, no part of it.
Fled, the sort of lead investigator in this, was he Peter Radolfsky? He did listen to it, right? In your attorney's office, he listened.
He did.
And then,
and according to my attorney and myself, Agent Radolfsky thought it was very credible information, and for that, he wanted me to upload the information to their evidence. They have kind of like this online thing you upload it. So that's where I upload it. I'm sorry, I have a little thing going on today. As you know, I had stage 4 cancer 2 years ago, and I had to go to the doctor yesterday. So I got all these residual things happening. But so if I sniff a lot today, I don't have a cold or anything. It's just I'm dealing with that. So I apologize. But that.
Yeah, I get cancer, Jim, and that's the
other. I know you do.
For them to be so nasty and personally attacking you, it's vile. It's all you're doing. Originally, all you were doing.
Well, let's keep going. We'll get to the attacks in a minute. Let's keep going, because I think the information before October 17th is very critical. So now we have September 23rd, David Moses welcoming the information. Love it. Let us know what we can do. We're eager to help. We're excited to know. We'll hook you up with Chief Keel. October 15th, I call Sandy, and I have a 20-minute conversation with her. You can listen to that conversation in my interview with her. It's on YouTube here. And she says, I've given her more information than any SLED agent. Now, I'm going to read into that and say that's pretty, for me, that was a wow moment for me, because that's 10 years this thing's been going on. And SLED's going to give her the information, which means I've given her more information than Eric has. I've given her more information than Mandy or Liz or anybody. I mean, SLED is at the top of the food chain when it comes to investigating the death of her son. So if you want to listen to that, you can listen to her say that in her own words on October 15th. And then she wanted me to call her attorney, Eric Bland, super lawyer, Eric Bland. And so I called Eric and I texted him and emailed him the article. And look at here, here's Mr. Bland thanking me for my hard work. Thank you for your hard work. And by the way, when he was sent that email from David Moses on October or September 23rd, he never responded. So he just kind of took it as whatever. But here he is thanking me for the hard work. We had numerous calls back and forth, texts, as I said, emails. Everything was fine. And then the sudden turn. Here's where things start to get weird. So 48 hours later.
Was Eric copied? Eric is copied on the David Moses, the September 23rd, 2025 email to
Yes.
your. Was Eric copied on that?
Yes.
He says he doesn't know who this clown is or whatever. He absolutely.
Well, here it is right here. Eric S. Bland. I've got it a red arrow pointing to his name. I did block out his email address, so crazies won't do it. You can thank me later for that, Eric. If that's what we do in journalism, even though you think I'm not a journalist, or at least a crap ball on.
Eric has a problem telling the truth or being accurate. I don't know which it is, but.
So here's the sudden turn on October 17th. 48 hours after I got the accolades from Sandy, after I got the accolades from Eric. What is this? Not even that's 2 months. No, it's not even a month after Mr. Moses, hubby of Mrs. Moses, said, we're eager. We want to know. But October 17th, I do believe she might have been out in California promoting her Hulu series on Alec Murdaugh. And she came out and called me a cruel liar, a fraud, and a fake. Didn't name me, but said if anybody tags her in my article again, she was going to block them. Then they go out and talk about, the Murdaughs had something to do with Stephen's death. They just think it. But here's the thing. No one from Lunar Shark requested to review the recording that we talked about that SLED and the CC News are in possession of. And no one asked for documents. No one contacted SLED for confirmation. No one sought clarification. Nobody. And it's to me, it's difficult to reconcile with Lunar Shark's own internal communications on September 23rd, where Moses said, eager to know how we can help. Learning if you want to know someone that has the info. That'd be amazing.
Amazing. I guess
amazing.
The dictionary.
Amazing is in all caps too, by the way.
Okay,
with an exclamation point.
Jim, in his dictionary, amazing means we hate it, we hate you, you're crazy.
Apparently.
I don't know. It's just so obnoxious. It's like, I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure you did, actually, now that I think of it. But Eric, he just can't pass up an opportunity to get his little face on camera. And so a while back, he dresses up as I thought it looked like a dog, like Snoopy, but I think it looks like a cow or something like that. And so he's dressed up like that, doing something stupid. Who knows?
He's in a cow.
Okay, so my thought,
costume.
He's full of shit. It's perfect, but I don't care. But it didn't come across my news feed because I've covered this story for years, and I know a lot of people that are more invested in it right now than I am, actually. But I saw it. Okay, I didn't for a second think that. I don't think any functioning adult would say dressing up like a cow as a reference to I'm full of bullshit, which is I think what it was. That reflects well on his professionalism.
We're gonna have to bleep that later.
I took it as another example of him just being a buffoon, which is what I've thought all along. He's a buffoon. I have no.
Well, within days of these developments, Eric Bland, the winner of the Best Charleston Awards and super lawyer, launched a series of escalating unethical public attacks on said journalist. Actually, Mandy didn't call me a journalist in her motion. She called me an online personality. I don't know. Maybe I should.
No.
I'm going to try to trademark that. So every time they call it to me, I just charge them. But he started to call me deranged, a whack job, a clown, mentally unstable. Sandy wants you 1 billion miles away from her. 1 billion. So I wonder how far that is.
Sandy actually said, "You've told me more than SLED ever did."
She did, yeah. Go listen to it on YouTube. You don't believe me?
None of this adds up to journalism. This adds up to a determined effort to monetize a narrative that is just crumbling beneath them. And they dragged Hulu into it. They dragged Netflix into it. They dragged HBO into it. They dragged a lot of legacy media, which have a horrible track record right now for accuracy and facts as it is. But this is not something to point to with pride. This whole narrative, it's so wrong because it's so destructive. It has
Hey, by
nothing.
the way, a billion miles. So Eric Bland would like me to go in the middle of Saturn's, in the middle of Saturn. Saturn's a billion miles away.
I don't think Eric has a concept of 100 feet or a billion.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I think that's
Maybe I
concept.
call Elon Musk. Hey, Elon, Eric Bland told me I need to be a billion miles away from Sandy Smith and in this story. Can I get a ride to
Yeah,
Saturn?
can I get it right? But
Yeah.
I don't think Eric has the ability to understand what he's saying.
Well, it contradicted his, it contradicts him back in the September 23rd email where he didn't respond, and on the October 15th text where he himself thanked me for my hard work. So I've got David Moses, Sandy Smith, Eric Bland. Love it, love it, love it.
So, Jim, what was the turning point? What do you think? I know what I think the turning point is. This conflicted with this lucrative Hulu narrative, which was actually just happenstance for you. What do you think was the turning point? How did they go from, yeah, we want to know this, to we hate Jim Seidel, actually?
Okay, Frank.
What changed? Did you change? Did you grow a tail and horns that you didn't see?
Apparently, I did. And my fans know this because this is how I am. How I am with you is how I am. I don't have this, scripted. We're going to sit down and we're going to read every word, and every word has a meaning. And oh my God, and I'm going to talk like this all the time. When I talk like that, I'm goofing around. But somehow they have pegged me as some evil man who lies all the time, and they have no credibility because they're defaming me and making lies up. But here's what happened. Why October 17th really makes a difference. And you got to go back in time a little bit. But on October 22nd, which was a Wednesday, that's when Hulu dropped their series for the Murdaugh show. Episode 4 was dropped on October 22nd. So on October 17th, episode 4 had not aired yet. On October 15th, it had not aired yet. And that particular episode was mainly about, as I understand, I didn't watch it because it's a fictional show, about Stephen Smith and tying Stephen Smith and Buster and Paul Murdaugh to Stephen Smith.
It's the same as that trailer that aired during Alex's trial, the Netflix trailer. That footage did not appear in the Netflix documentary, but it appeared in the trailer. I have copies of it. I did content on it. It's on Rumble. And I would provide it for Buster's. Buster's represented by counsel in those defamation suits. But Netflix hired actors to portray Buster and Paul walking through the woods with a baseball bat, because what was being disseminated from about July of 2022 was that there was evidence that Stephen had been hit with a baseball bat or sodomized with a baseball bat, and that's how he died. And that was a narrative. I don't know who generated it or created it, but it certainly was amplified by this gang that we're talking about here. And the idea that Netflix had to hire actors to do that was so outrageous to me, especially during Alex's murder trial. So it's, we know that Fitz News and Mandy and Liz allowed a Netflix producer, what was his name? Gazpacho? I'm joking. Anyway, they allowed Mr.
Mike?
access to some of their content. So
yes, that's been verified in the text messages through Mandy and Liz that they allowed Cinemark, which is a production company that sold the Murdaugh show to Netflix, access to their evidentiary files.
And
that's a fact.
What got mixed, though, what got commingled and polluted was their narrative, their crazy assumptions that they somehow decided were fact, and then this lucrative narrative that was generated by Mark Tinsley. I don't know that Eric Bland generated a lot of stuff. He just sort of jumped in and said, "I'll represent you." In fact, even in those texts, they talk about how Eric is representing everybody in all the jurors in that
Yeah.
hearing before trial. They're saying, "Well, wait, there's more than one attorney in South Carolina." In fact,
Right.
the idea that the South Carolina bar gave that guy an award makes you realize how useless, how worthless those awards are. I'm going to give you an award right now, Jim. You are the super journalist of all humanity, of all mankind. Okay, I'm
Hey, I'm
here,
award-winning journalist now.
the pig. Uh,
So it comes back into money. All right. And this was an email that I received today. My attorney received it yesterday, and she received it from Eric Bland and copied David Moses. So we've come full circle. From September 23rd, where we love you, want to know everything, to December 10th, where Eric wrote that the offerers, which is Sandy Smith, of the Stephen Smith reward reserve the right to determine eligibility and entitlement to the reward in her sole discretion, and that me, was not eligible for this reward regardless of the results of the investigation or any arrest made in this case, citing my alleged interference with the investigation, even though I worked with SLED on this thing, and my lack of credibility, even though I didn't even want to get into it with that particular guy and his credibility wearing a cow suit.
Jim, Google cites you, Rock cites you. You have credibility. You absolutely, and you haven't weaponized or monetized any of these narratives. In fact, you didn't ask for the reward, but I think you just asked what were the terms, because you certainly qualified for the reward. What a bunch of easy people.
Yeah, my attorney can if it need be, can certainly say that, because that's what I told her was, I'm not in this for the reward. I mean, there's a reward out there, and if I were granted that award, I would use it to help fund finding other, missing people or whatever it was, just to help these funds. Because as everybody seems to think I'm some grifter, I'm not making money on this. I mean, I got a few ads. I do some TikToks and this sort of thing, but I'm not monetizing this. This isn't for monetization.
Jim, you have a right to. You're actually engaged in journalism. You'd have every right to if you were monetizing it. Don't back away from something that you have a right to. These guys
I'm not backing away from it. I'm just saying I don't do it for the money, and I wasn't doing it for the 50,000. In fact, I was talking with somebody today about that email. I don't know if it was you. I don't think it was. And they were like, well, maybe they were saying that. So if you were going after the email, after 50 grand, that he would back away. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter, because I wasn't there for the 50 anyways. I was there to solve the crime, which I believe I did. And I gave it to SLED. So, but when we talk about lack of credibility, I just want to make sure you heard this, because I thought it was quite funny. I'm not the one who appeared on a video podcast wearing a cow suit. Mr. Super Lawyer. Oh, I bet he's screaming at the TV right now. Oh, you say that? Dude, you put yourself out there everywhere. His signature has got, as seen on, this is Eric Bland's signature, as seen on Court TV, Today, Time, LA Times, People, The New Yorker, Psychology Today. I bet they really dug into you. BBC, Law and Crime, The Washington Post, TMZ, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Dateline, CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, The Daily Beast, CW, Newsweek, Netflix, Max, and he is, I don't know, a lifetime member of some multi-million-dollar.
And he still doesn't.
Still
doesn't story right. He could appear. I don't think there's anything left to appear on. But
I don't know. But the guy has made so many unethical accusations and lies about me. It's crazy.
He's a bully.
Calling me a whack job? Come on, Eric. You know better than that.
He's a bully that gets away with doing that. And his this is how I guess he thinks the world works, is he gets to be a bully. And
well, if you scream hard enough, maybe people will go away. But
yeah,
as you can see, I don't care. I am bringing the receipts from David Moses. I'm bringing the receipts from Eric Bland. I'm bringing the receipts from Sandy Smith. And I'm bringing the receipts from Mandy Matney, who apparently didn't know about any of this until October 17th, 7 days before her Stephen Smith tie-in to Buster Murdaugh show appeared, and she flipped her ever-living gourd. And all of a sudden now it's attack mode. And then I go into being a journalist on my website. I almost have 1,000 articles up there. I've written 3 books. I don't know, produced how many different podcasts and different records that you can find on Spotify. And yeah, oh yeah, good music, Christmas music. And
this is something that comes up a lot because I've done this content. I have, about 2,000 of my followers, and we gave these people the benefit of the doubt again and again and again. And I've even said that just a couple of these shows ago. I said, maybe they're good people that just got off the rails. We are so gullible and naive. They're not good people that got off the rails. They are really nasty people that I think are involved in a grift. They were nowhere near the tracks. They didn't just jump the tracks. They're off in la la land, literally, where they're just monetizing this really seductive narrative. And if they were to label it all fiction, it's fine. It would be a compelling story, but they'd have to label it fiction. But they cannot be defaming you or Buster or anybody. They cannot. That's where they cross the line, that they want to say, I'm a credible attorney. Actually, you're not. In fact, I think it's time for another letter to the South Carolina Commission on Judicial Conduct, another complaint. But
I've already sent 4. Listen, I've never sent one in my life. And in the last week, I have sent 4 against 3 attorneys. And I think another one's coming tomorrow because I haven't seen the transcript from their show, but I hear he defames me quite openly. And for a super lawyer who's the best in Charleston to go out and make these really ugly, Eric, ugly. You're like the kid on the playground, I don't know, whose dad has money, and you always see it in those 80s movies where the guy's wearing sunglasses and the big coat, he's got the big hair, and he just thinks he's gonna push everybody around, and I'll tell you, no, dude, no. And last I looked, your mail is the same color as mine, right? We both get up in the morning and do our thing. So I don't know why you have to resort to being a 12-year-old and calling someone, you're a grown-ass adult, super lawyer, and you're calling me names. Names.
Yeah. And he wants to be the white knight. He is the white
whack
knight.
Job, all these things. He said, whack job the clown. I said, I'm deranged. Really? Is this what the actions of a grown man who's supposedly some professional attorney? Are these the actions of a grown man, an attorney, a professional attorney? I mean, don't they have some sort of
code
ethics to live up to in public? I mean, I can call him deranged and a whack job. I'm not going to have some ethics committee come in there and slap my hand.
No,
but call me names, dude. Come on. I mean, man up. Why don't you give me a call on my cell phone? Let's talk. In fact, I'll come down to Charleston or Columbia or wherever the hell you are, and we'll meet you and we'll talk this out. Unless you're scared. Because I'm not scared of you. You want to threaten me with lawsuits because I used your image? One that was on Google, by the way.
No. He has rules of professional conduct that he has to adhere to. And I think he has utterly failed. He's holding the legal profession in ill repute. I think the idea of dressing up like a cow like that is questionable, but everything else, you did that. It was a joke. You stuck. He's sitting there promoting something. Who cares? I think he sells an Eric bobblehead. I think he is a bobblehead. But anyway,
I'm not going to get into the name callers, but feel free.
Okay, so he's holding his book, and so you photoshopped in your book at a time when he said,
"Oh yeah, that was a joke." Crying out loud! Oh, everybody knows that Eric hates
an egomaniac. Not,
huh?
They call him the bland man.
Anything but bland. He doesn't quite understand how that sounds. Anything but bland.
He is.
He thinks it's anything but bland. I'm thinking, no, it's anything but bland.
So I hate to be a bitch and a nag, but here we go. He graduated from. Did he graduate law school? Did he fill out one of those in-flight magazines that guarantee you a law degree? How?
Well, I'm not going down that road, but
No,
I don't know where he went to school. I don't know where he went to law school, but all I know is how he is acting now. And he's acting like a third grader out on the recess court because I just took his swing away and he's calling me a whack job. Dude, man up. Okay. Come on. Does anybody else, does this seem like it's okay because I'm the villain that you can just throw all your stones at me? Dude, let me just tell you, so you understand this clearly. As I've said before, I have seen the thousands of text messages. I am not in possession of these text messages, but I've seen them, and that was before the subpoena went out. Your little podcaster friends make fun of you, okay? They laugh at you behind your back. They make jokes about you. They're not your buddies.
They're not complimentary.
And I've never said a bad thing about you. I may have laughed and said a joke, and then you get all pissed off, call me a whack job, but whatever. You want to act like that? You want to act like a third grader, Mr. Superlord? You go right ahead. So let's see. Broader question. I said, why would this media company dedicated to justice and sunlight react with hostility when confronted with new, credible evidence in a high-profile case where they beg for information? I don't understand why. And again, this is not me, just so we're all clear. I'm not saying these things to attack you. I'm saying these things because they're general questions that I am giving you information you have begged for, that your husband thanked my attorney for, wanted, your podcast buddy attorney wanted, thanked me for my hard work. Sandy Smith, his client, your contract person you guys have, all thought it was the greatest thing in the world until we found out it didn't go back to Murdaugh. I don't know if that's why, but on October 17th, all of a sudden hell broke loose on me. I just don't understand. But Chief Keel had this information before you did, Eric. He had it probably sometime back in July or early August. And the Attorney General's office of the state of South Carolina also has it. What they're doing with it, I don't know. I hope they make an arrest because the information is strong, it's credible, it's new, and it's material. Somebody said, well, that's not new information. It is new information. Take your dumb blinders off and actually use that thing that's in between your skull here, between your two ears, and figure out that it is new information. God, I wish I could tell everybody who the confidential source is, but I can't because I made a promise to them. They want to stay anonymous because they fear for their safety. And honestly, these people alleged in one person dying, maybe two others. I don't know. But I would be too if I was this person. So,
Jim, given how they're attacking you, you can see how somebody would fear for their safety. This group gone after. There was that whole list of enemies.
Maybe if they knew who this person was, they'd go attack them.
I'm afraid they might.
I'm not giving you the opportunity, Mr. Recess guy. We got to come up with a name for him, Recess guy, because that's what he's doing. Don't be a whack job. Come on, grow up.
Jim, his name speaks for itself. He's a bland guy. He's bland.
He's 60 years old. Grow up.
Well, that too. But now we're going down that very trail. I really don't want to.
Yeah, let's move away from that. But here's the thing: is the truth doesn't need their permission. And I'm going to make this a T-shirt. I've copyrighted and trademarked this. So any of you out there, and they're probably going to call me a grifter for making a T-shirt and selling it, even though Luna Shark sells Discord for $15 a month to just harass people. This truth does not need your permission. It's not required. Whether the public accepts this or not, the evidence that is in the possession of SLED and the Attorney General's Office, State of South Carolina, naming Conley and Wilson, it exists. And it's not 2 years old.
Right.
It's brand new. And it's quite material evidence that SLED has possessed since July of 2025. So, I'll tell you, the truth doesn't need your permission. You can go and cry all you want and pound your feet and stomp on the playground and call me all kinds of names and point to the teacher and scream and holler. It doesn't change the fact that this person said this person is close to them, this person was there on the night, in the middle of the night on July 8th, 2015, heard the words, according to them, out of Patrick Wilson's mouth. He and Sean Conley hit someone. He and Sean Conley killed someone.
And there's only one person that died in that community that night. Also, it's not a murder. It's homicide because it's a death caused by somebody else. But it was a hit and run. It was always a hit and run.
Well, I'll let SLED figure that out. But yes, SLED has called it a murder. But in my opinion, based off of the evidence, what I've seen, it looks like it was an accident, those two out hog hunting. But again, I'll let SLED and the state of South Carolina figure that out.
Presnell was right. It was a hit and run.
Presnell was right.
The same thing. I think, they exhumed his body and had another pathologist do an autopsy. And, if this is a reasonable assumption, but it is just an assumption, if that other pathologist that did the third autopsy or the second autopsy on Stephen, if they had found anything other than a homicide or hit and run homicide, Luna Shark would have monetized that. They would have, said, now we have proof of all these exaggerated claims we've been making. We have proof of it. And they went radio silent on that. Here's my pig. Did you see this? I love my little pig. So
I don't know where my video went. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, so they push a narrative that they know the evidence doesn't support. And one of the things we overlook is they're defaming Dr. Erin Presnell too. And she is one of the most credible forensic pathologists in this country. She's not just a fly-by-night, she's a highly respected medical professional at Medical University of South Carolina. And she runs one of the best departments of pathology in this country and does an extraordinary job. And what they were pushing originally was the narrative.
But I know Mandy has called Presnell a whack job too. So.
Okay, this is one thing that drove me nuts because I was married to a medical doctor.
Excuse me, Dr. Matney.
Now listen,
Dr. Moses.
Hold on. By the time you get through medical school, you've got about 10, 11 years of education invested in your going to medical school, your internship, your residency, and then you got 2 years where you got to collect cases so that you can sit for your written and stand for your oral exams. And then you are a board certified, whatever it is, gynecologist, radiologist, pathologist, or whatever. You don't throw that all away because Alec Murdaugh on the evening of July 8th of 2015 calls and says, call this a hit and run. Dr. Presnell did not alter her findings at any point ever. And for Mandy and Liz and frankly Fitz News to ever suggest that that's what she did is defamatory to her. Now she's a public figure and she probably said, who cares what these idiots think? I'm a professional. These are my professional findings. But that wasn't good enough for them because it didn't fit a narrative they could monetize. So they just flat out attack her. So this idea of we're going to attack anybody, regardless of their credentials, regardless of their earned credentials and the esteem with which they are held, if it doesn't agree with our crazy, lucrative narrative, we're going to just malign them. So in a way, you should be flattered because they're going after you, but it's really not journalism. And I don't know how, when Eric Bland signs on to that, I don't see how that is anything less than conduct that is highly prejudicial to the public's faith in the Bar Association in South Carolina. I think he's a disaster. I think that the very standards that,
here's the thing. This is not, in my opinion, journalism coming out of Luna Shark. And this is not professionalism coming from super lawyer Eric Bland, winner of Charleston's Best. This is a narrative by them based on their actions. It's also what I have found out digging into this. DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. Darbo. And cases like Stephen Smith deserve far better than them doing this and attacking. I see it every day. I just get so many messages. I'm inundated with people, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're driving them crazy. You're driving them crazy. They're going nuts. They're freaking out." I'm like, "Listen, I am not doing this to make them freak out. I'm just doing what I do. Is I go out and tell the truth and base it off of facts." Which is why I wanted to come out today when they were bashing me about the Stephen Smith thing. Was like, what happened? Because on September 23rd, you all wanted. Luna Shark wanted my information until they found out it didn't go to Buster, and until they found out it came from me, because I've been dealing with this crap for 2 years now. When I came out with my first book, Defending Alec Murdaugh, Not Guilty by Reasonable Doubt, by the way, it moved up. It's back in the bestseller list on Amazon. I think it's number 4 or 5 last time I looked in courtroom evidence. And they started back then because my narrative was different. They have picked on every single journalist, attacked every single journalist that at least that I know of, and nobody likes them. And I'm sure they're going to I don't care if anybody likes you. Okay, well, I don't care if you care. I'm just telling you, nobody does. And I got some people that follow them and pay for it, and like that hate. I am not one of them.
Hate sells, and
Hate sells, and they know it. But
there are a lot of people that want to be in that cult. It is a cult of their followers, and it gives people an identity. It probably makes them feel real comfortable. So I get their attraction, and it'd be fine if they would just say this is just fiction and we're making it up, and then change the names of everybody so that Buster isn't suing them, which I think he should do. But that's not. They're trying to straddle this line between claiming to be journalists and this other stuff.
And say I'm not a journalist. I don't know what the difference is. Journalism school? What do you think about journalism school?
I'm a big fan. So I wanted to go to law school, and you have to have an undergraduate degree. So, something that's easy to get is political science, which I think is totally useless. If you don't go to law school with that degree, you can flip hamburgers to McDonald's and complain about life, which is kind of what I do. Anyway, except I don't flip hamburgers at McDonald's. But anyhow, so I'm at the University of Washington. I just want to go to law school. And so I'm going to just finish up this, and I'm on the dean's list and whatever. And, but along the way, I took classes from Dr. Pember, and he's with the School of Journalism. And if you're in journalism, you know who Dr. Don Pember is. He wrote the textbook for mass media law. And he's a friend of my mom's and whatever, just an incredible professor. And I looked into the School of Journalism, and the criteria from the University of Washington, which is a pretty good school. It's so easy. I mean, I could have gotten a degree right then, that day. It's like I'd completed enough credits. I had a high enough GPA. It's just that the starting.
Anyway, I'm not taking anything away. I went to journalism for 4 years, but don't attack me. Just stop. It doesn't look good. It's that. Who was that guy in the 50s that was attacking everybody for communism, but he never had any proof?
John McCarthy.
You guys are Joe McCarthy, for crying out loud. Have you no decency? Is there no decency left in you? I don't care how many pictures you come out smiling with your teeth. You're drinking your sodas from your straw with your sunglasses and your side eye and saying, I don't care. I don't care. You care. Just be a human being. That's all anybody asks. Just be a human, not a rotten human being. Just be a human. Have some feelings, for crying out loud. Embrace this, right? Take this and go run with it. I don't know why the Murdaugh thing has to be Murdaugh. I mean, it just isn't, according to this confidential source. And if I wish I could tell you, actually, you know what? I could tell you. And I've tried to tell you. I've tried to let you listen to this so you understand the depth of how far this goes down. And you ghost me. You don't want to hear it. And you call me a whack job. I mean, Stephen deserves better than attacking a journalist for providing the information that Luna Shark producer David Moses was clearly eager to get. It reminds me of Jack Nicholson in that movie. What was that one with him and Tom Cruise?
Oh, a few
good men.
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that's a good scene. That's one of the best scenes ever. Jim, I think that because I've listened to that tape of your conversation with Sandy Smith, she was really knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. That woman is very savvy. And I think she might have understood exactly who you were talking about. In fact, I just wonder. I see. I am no longer of this that group that says this is who she is. I'm not sure who she is exactly, but I sometimes her responses and her sort of reptilian disconnect makes me wonder what she knows. In that phone call with you, she seemed to understand a whole lot of everything.
It was 20 minutes of phone call, and I did a lot of the talking, but I called to give her a lot of information. But she was, this is, thank you. She's laughing. We're having a good time.
Patrick released. She knew Patrick had just been released. How many people knew that? I mean, she just right away, she just knew it all in a way that she's been portrayed a certain way as this grieving mom. I've known grieving.
And by the way, speaking of that, let's just make this clear to everybody, because I know somebody's going to say it in the comments. This isn't new news. Patrick and Sean have been named for years now. Yes, that is true.
Yes.
What is not true is this person there on the night it happened, hear the words out of Patrick's mouth. I think we hit someone. I think we killed someone. And then he threw up, and then they were mad because they had to go clean all his puke up. And it's an hour and a half conversation. So I take it down to that one little sentence, but that's the strongest sentence in it. But there's an hour and a half in that, and you will learn. But listen, you don't want to know the truth? That's fine. Stop asking for it. Stop pointing it to Murdaugh, because it's not it. Huh?
Well, do you think law enforcement do you think that conversation, it would be played at trial, I would imagine. If law enforcement,
yeah. If there's a trial, it'll be played at trial. I'm sure I'll be pulled into it. And, all kinds of things.
But so at that point, do you think that Mandy and Eric and the whole gang will say, "Oops, Jim, we're sorry, we got it wrong"?
Yeah. They're going to probably try to take credit for it somehow. We always knew. Oh yeah, we contacted him back in September. We said, "Great, that's fantastic."
Yeah, we always knew.
We always knew.
But if that's true, though, then what the hell are you doing with that narrative on Hulu? If that's true, let's just take Eric Bland at his word. If he knew that information 2 years ago, then why in the hell are they part of that production of Hulu?
Well, he only knows the two names. I'm going to assume this. Maybe, I have to assume it because he doesn't know what I know. He hasn't heard. Well, let's just put it this way: he hasn't heard the recordings from me. If he's heard the recordings, then somebody at SLED leaked it to him. But if they didn't leak it, which I don't think they did, then he has no idea what I know. None.
No, but
none.
Jim,
none yet.
Either way, this Eric Bland guy is reprehensible. Either he's part of this Hulu fraud that he knows, because he says, "I knew it 2 years ago." Maybe he did.
Well, he is on the podcast, so I think he is employed by Mandy.
So maybe he did, or he
wants that Christmas bonus check.
Eric needs to come on this show and explain. Except that liars lie. That should be your other T-shirt. Liars lie. But either he does know, and he knew 2 years ago, in which case, how in the hell can they be part of this narrative on Hulu? Or he's just full of what is that called? That stuff that comes out of the rear end of a cow. He's full
that's of. That's why they want me to stay away from Sandy, because they don't want her knowing the truth. Listen, Sandy, if you're watching this, call me. You have my number. You know how to get a hold of me. I'll let you listen to it. Now, there's a small stipulation that I'm going to have to ask before, and you're going to have to sign off on it. You can't go and tell anybody who it is, but you'll know. I mean, anyway. I'm playing some Christmas music to get into the little holiday cheer. I see the mountains of North Carolina got some snow the other day up in Boone and some other places. I know the Midwest got pummeled with some snow, but we haven't got any down here. I had a couple of flurries for about 20 minutes one time, but not much. And then New Year's, I was thinking I might go to Folly Beach is having fireworks. I think at like 9 o'clock or something like that on New Year's Eve. That might be kind of fun. And they're doing their polar bear plunge on the 1st, which I did that one time. I was up in the Arctic Circle, and we went into this. It was supposedly it's the world's largest steam, and we're in this giant hut out in the middle of nowhere, and then you have to put these wool socks on, and you're just like sweating to death. You have your swimsuit on, or some guys were in there, women too, just completely naked. And then put the socks on, and you go run down into this lake, and there's guys standing there, and they have this hole in the lake with a ladder down, and you just drop down into it. It is ice ass cold. Oh my god! No. And then you pop back up, and you run back in there as fast as you can to get into the heat. But I wanted to do that polar bear plunge. That might be kind of fun.
No, but Jim, the thing at Foley Beach, that's called feeding the alligators. So you run into the water there, and they're cold, and they got nothing to do, and there's not a lot of food in the wintertime, so they're just right there, and the sharks.
You know what alligators do when the ice freezes?
They go shopping at Harris Teeter.
Besides that, you'll see their little snout, at the end of their snout, their 2 little nostrils, and they'll put those up, and they'll just lay underneath the ice with their little nostrils so they can breathe. Otherwise, they can't breathe, and they'd rather be in the water
than the air.
Than in the air.
How do you avoid, getting eaten by a shark or an alligator? You stay on dry land. It's real simple. God made it real easy. Stay on dry land.
Well, you be on dry land and get eaten by an alligator.
The what?
You can be on dry land and get eaten by an alligator.
That's true. I was also including sharks. I like to. You can tag a lot of the sharks that are tagged. You can actually follow them as they swim up and down.
Yeah, I've seen that. I always laugh when somebody gets bit by a shark and they're like, "Oh my god, so and so got bit by a shark." I'm like, "You're in their house. They're hungry."
Really simple. Stay out of the water.
They don't go, "Oh, there's Joey. I'm going to go bite him. I don't like that guy." No, they're just hungry, swimming around, beating sharks. That's what sharks do.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. I enjoy making content with you, Jim. I am probably more outraged than you are about most of this. You seem to retain, you're a nice man, and you retain that civility, and I'm too cranky to be nice anymore.
I get that, and I might be as the years go on, but I figure I'm not going to lower myself to the 3rd grade level of Eric Bland to start calling people names publicly. And if I ever have, well, then I'm sorry I did. I'm human, but I don't make it a living to do it. That's for sure. It's not my thing. It's
when he does things, you have to admit he just is. But he seems to know it, and he seeks it out. He prompts that assessment of him by doing stupid things or buffoony things or engaging in buffoonery.
Buffoonery. And that's a T-shirt right there. Here comes the grift again. Buffoonery. I'm going to open a website, buffoonery.com. We're going to sell T-shirts exclusively.
Okay, so the first one's going to be Nobody Owns the Truth.
Was that what it was?
We better
I'll have to go back and watch this.
It's in the article. Yeah. But it's essentially that. Nobody owns the truth. Yeah.
Well, no, the truth doesn't need your permission.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, the back of the shirt could say nobody owns the truth.
I know. The truth is the truth. It's out there. Yeah. Whether they want to believe it or not, whether they want to lie to their listeners.
Jim, what are you drinking?
Oh, no. It's water. It's flavored orange water. That little stuff you have squirt in the water.
Sure. Okay, well, I'm glad you're feeling a little better. You sound a little better.
He kind of knocked me around yesterday. In fact, I looked at my nose, a little bruised. I mean, he's an ENT, and he was up there jamming stuff. And he's like, "Oh, look at this." I'm looking on the TV, and I'm like,
But as long as it's Was it,
I still have a little bit of a headache. Huh?
as long as it wasn't cancer coming back, it's all good.
No, he's like, no, this is dealing with the residual effects of radiation and life goes on. Radiation still kind of breaks down your body every day. Fun stuff.
Not so really, really not. So.
No, cancer sucks.
Cancer does suck. Okay, goodbye. We'll be back. You know,
By the way, Eric, thanks for picking on the cancer patient. Appreciate that. By the way, people, they want to, call me all kinds of things. He's not a journalist. He's not that. I wrote my second book, defending, no, not defending, because enough is enough with Myra Crosby. I wrote that second book, getting radiation treatments in Charleston. Radiation and chemo, I was throwing up. I had mouth sores like you wouldn't believe. I slept all the time. What little time I had up, I was going at it. I'd have probably about 3 to 4 hours during the day where I was like cognizant. I couldn't eat. I was on a feeding tube. Thanks for picking out the cancer patient. Now he's going to go, throw the victim card out. Who's throwing the victim card out? Let me just get ahead of that. I'm the attorney that knows the answer to the question before you even ask it. We're going to go, quit playing the victim card. Oh, really? It's pot calling the kettle black. Play the victim card and then attack everybody silently on the other end. All right, we're going to go. What's his name? Probably going to go, what the hell is this show about? 97.7 WVFF, Jonathan. Veterans for Freedom Radio, the Truth and Broadcasting Corporations. We are Swamp Justice Radio, and you can catch the illustrious Elaine Greenberg on X, where she is telling the world, one person, one post at a time. Get your story straight. All right, we'll see you.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.